GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show that's more reliable than autocorrect suggesting ducking every single time. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we are joined by Zeneca to discuss his thesis for base season. We're going to touch on the 6 reasons why Zeneca believes that base season is about to begin and look at some interesting stats that show base is beating Solana and every other chain in the current time period of the past week. Will that continue, or is that just a blip? That's what we're going to talk about today. Before we jump in, guys, if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, please subscribe. It is an incredible 5-minute read every day to keep you guys up to date on everything you need to know in crypto during this busy holiday season. So don't miss out. Before we hear from Zeneca, we're just going to take a moment to hear from our sponsors. Meanwhile is the world's first licensed and regulated life insurance company built for the Bitcoin economy. They do everything in BTC. You pay in BTC, they pay claims to your family in BTC. You take out policy loans entirely in BTC when you need liquidity. Protect your family from life's uncertainty and a broken financial system. Build intergenerational Bitcoin wealth while the cost of living skyrockets in dollar terms. Plus, get all the tax and legal benefits of life insurance now in Bitcoin. Visit milkroad.com/meanwhile to join the waitlist and get early access to the world's first Bitcoin life insurance. Whether you're bullish or bearish on MicroStrategy, T-Rex ETFs are your gateway to dynamic market plays. Get exclusive access to leveraged exposures with the first 2 times short or 2 times long ETFs designed specifically for MicroStrategy stock. Position yourself with precision. With T-Rex, you gain access to powerful tools for sophisticated investors. Zeneca, what's going on, my man? Welcome back to the show.
Good to be back. Yeah, it's I don't know, Bitcoin's closing in on 100K, base season. It's good times. It's good times.
It's good times. It is very good times. I mean, we forget Bitcoin and base season. Zeneca wrote a newsletter. It's been 6 months or so since you wrote a newsletter, and I think your newsletters are a big deal in the space. They're always legendary. They're packed with alpha, and you put one out just yesterday.
Yeah, like 12 hours ago from this recording time. Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, let's start with the obvious question. This newsletter is all about base season. Why did you want to write this newsletter?
So I've been bullish on bases and L2 on Ethereum pretty much since it ever first came out. It launched in August 2023. I covered it back then in a newsletter. Basically, I think it's a big deal. And I think that a lot of attention has been on Solana lately. Understandably, it's done very, very well this cycle. But I just sort of sensed a momentum shift, more attention coming onto both Ethereum and then more specifically Base. And so I've been investing in a lot of Base tokens. I've been spending a lot of time researching and looking into the ecosystem. A lot of people have been asking me about it, how to get involved. And so it just seemed like the perfect timing and like confluence of things to write about it. And yeah, I think we're just getting started, but again, we'll see.
Before we jump into the 6 reasons why you're so stoked on base season, and there's a lot of great research here to back this up. You gave a great PSA at the beginning of your newsletter. I want to allow you to share that PSA before we jump into this episode today.
Yeah, so I actually wrote this right at the end, just before I had my whole newsletter written, and I was about to hit submit, and I was like, you know what, I should probably put this in. Basically saying that a lot of the things I talk about in the newsletter, as well as most people are doing and talking about these days relating to meme coins and trading, it's NFT in 2021 all over again. Like, this is a giant bubble. Almost every coin is going to crash 95 to 100%. It's all going to zero outside of, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, handful of others, and then maybe a handful of meme coins. But basically everything is going to zero. I'm trying to make money. I'm trading. I'm going to be selling a lot of my coins. I'm trying to time the top. I think everyone is. So it's just sort of like, don't get married to your bags. Don't round trip. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose. This is all insanely risky, et cetera, et cetera. Like, my best advice to everyone is just buy and hold Bitcoin, maybe buy, hold Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. But if you want to be a DJ, if you want to trade, if you want to get in the trenches, at least be aware of the risks and have a plan and strategy.
Yeah, 100%. And this is also just an opportunity to remind everybody, in the coming months, there is going to be a ton of new influencers that pop up on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, people who are here to tell you what to do with your crypto and trade your tokens and whatnot. And my biggest advice to everybody listening is do not listen to people who have not been through a cycle before. Like everything that Zeneca just said about taking profits and not having diamond hands, that only comes from experience of being around for a decade in this space. If you are new to the space and you're coming in and there's a lot of influencers and a lot of media who are going to take advantage of this and know that if they throw Bitcoin in their YouTube headline and their YouTube title, they're going to get more clicks and they're going to try to attract you. Don't fall into that trap. Make sure you know that the people you're listening to have been around because they just have an experience that a newer person is not going to have. And also, as Zeneca said, this episode is really, you guys are really going to enjoy this episode from the perspective of Coinbase and Base, which is, I mean, honestly, I believe everybody should just invest in Coinbase stock, which is an incredible stock that's done very well. It's a great way. You can't invest in Base. There's no Base token yet. We're going to talk about how to get invested in Base season at the end of this episode. But for everybody out there, be aware that this episode is definitely more on our degen side. We are really leaning into that side. So do not take your entire bag and go do what Zeneca is suggesting in today's episode. Without further ado, you got 6 reasons why you are so hype on Base right now. Let's go. Reason number 1.
I mean, reason number 1 is, you mentioned it before, Coinbase. Coinbase is, the stock has done very well. The company's done very well. They are a behemoth of an exchange, largest in America. I mean, everyone always talks about, oh my God, if our coin gets listed on Coinbase, it's going to go crazy. And there's a reason. It's because they have so many users and it makes so many more users able to trade that token more easily. Coinbase is a big deal in this industry. They not only are such a significant exchange, they are sort of at the forefront of crypto politics. Brian Armstrong, the CEO, recently met with Donald Trump to talk about crypto policy. They were flying around the world talking about Base and crypto. And it's just, if you're in crypto, you've probably heard of Coinbase. They're a big deal and they have their own layer 2 blockchain. So I think it makes sense to pay attention to it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Let's go to reason number 2.
Reason number 2 is ETH season. So, it's popular to hate on ETH at the moment. Everyone on crypto Twitter is dunking on ETH. They're like, oh, ETH is dead. Solana's... I've had actually, like, within the last week, I was in a crypto conference in Sydney a few days ago, and down there, but also online, had so many people ask me, oh, should I sell my ETH now to get Sol? And I just have to tell them, no, straight up, no. The time to do that was 18 months ago, 2 years ago, 12 months ago. Now is the time to maybe do the reverse, but basically when max FUD is, everyone is talking about how something is dead and written it off. That is not the time you want to be selling. That's the time you want to be holding or buying. Just like, November 2022, everyone called Solana dead. It's dead and gone. And everyone, including myself, I was, I didn't see the vision back then. It took me, maybe another year before I got on board the Solana train. But everyone was calling Sol dead. And that was the best time to buy. Many people are calling ETH dead now. It's kind of rallying the last few days, and it's been outperforming BTC and Sol. Actually, since the election, it's outperformed BTC and Sol. So maybe people are coming around a bit. But basically, I think ETH season is coming. I really strongly believe in ETH and the future of it. And I think that if and when that does happen, it'll be good for Base, because a lot of the inflows into Base come from money that is on ETH. So as ETH pumps, Base will just very organically pump.
This is a great chart that you showed in your newsletter, which is the TVL across all chains. Walk us through this, because this tells a very clear story, if you ask me.
Yeah, I was actually shocked when I saw this. I didn't put a link. It's from DeFi Llama, which is an amazing website that has all sorts of great metrics. And basically, it tracks 328 blockchains. So basically every meaningful blockchain in existence. And it tracks the TVL, the total value locked in DeFi protocols and apps and just things on the chain. Even after Solana has gone crazy this year, even after ETH has struggled, even after everything else, there is still over half of all the TVL basically in crypto is on Ethereum. That just blew my mind. And I think...
And that's Ethereum mainnet. That's not
That's Ethereum mainnet. Yeah, base is like 3% on there. If you look at that, you got, Ethereum as by far the largest, then Sol, and you got Tron, BSC, Base, Arbitrum. A bunch of these are ETH L2s. So yeah, it's insane. It's where the money is. It's where the money is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the pain trade of the year. Like, and you and I can both say this because you and I are both big ETH holders. It's been a tough year to hold ETH.
Oh my God.
Now is not when you sell. Like, now is not when you capitulate. When, as you said, it's the time to sell has passed. I got to pull up this. You really, you can't not throw this quote out there from Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Perfectly.
It's so good. It's so appropriate all the time. And yeah, I think that people are pretty fearful, or at least have been in the last few weeks, and peak FUD for ETH, but this is the time to be greedy.
All right. Reason number 3.
Reason number 3 is the friction to interact on both ETH and Base is rapidly decreasing. So one of the reasons I think Solana has been doing so well and will continue to do so well is the fact that transactions are very, very cheap and very, very quick, and B, the focus that the chain, the developers, the builders, even the Solana Foundation has made on the user experience. It's been, Phantom is a very mobile-first friendly wallet. There's a bunch of mobile apps, Moonshot being one of them, where it's very easy for the average user to buy and trade Sol tokens. It's very consumer-friendly. Ethereum has struggled with that for a very long time. It is getting better, and I think we're at close to an inflection point where it's basically about to catch up to Sol. Obviously, Ethereum mainnet is still relatively very expensive compared to L2s and Solana, and slower. So, it takes many seconds, maybe a little bit longer for a transaction to process. But Base and other L2s, they're basically as cheap, basically as fast as Solana, and we're seeing more and more apps now come to market that will make it easier for the average person to use. Probably the biggest example is Phantom, which just yesterday, the day before, said that they were rolling out Base support to everyone. So for those people who have Solana in their Phantom wallet, now they don't need to download a new wallet. They don't need to get Rabi or Rainbow or, God forbid, MetaMask, any other Ethereum wallet. They can use what they're already comfortable with, easily bridge, easily buy tokens. And there's a bunch of other apps doing very similar things that are either already out or about to come out.
Yeah, you made a really good point before we started recording about the fact that there's so many people that you speak to in your Telegram group or in your Discord community who are new this cycle and don't use anything other than Solana. So the concept of bridging over to Base is almost like it's out of their mind. They don't even know how to begin. I hadn't even thought about that, because
wild.
To me, everybody's been here since last cycle when we all used ETH first, and then we had to bridge to Solana. We went that way. Very interesting.
It blows my mind. So like within Zen Academy, I think basically everyone has been around for years. So if that was my only exposure, I wouldn't have this other perspective. But over the last couple of months, I joined a few different other alpha groups and communities. I just like to be across various things, some of which are pretty new to this cycle. And a lot of the people in there, I mean, I've been talking about Base everywhere for a while. A lot of people in there are like, I've never had Ethereum. I've never owned ETH or anything on EVM or Base. How do you even do it? What wallet do I use? And as someone who's been around since 2017, 2021, kind of blows my mind. But you have to understand the perspective of quote unquote retail, new users coming in, people coming in from TikTok and YouTube and from their friends trading meme coins. It's all been Sol first. And so making it as easy as possible for those people to interact with Base is a big deal, I think. And so we're at that point now where that level of ease is basically there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to add a 3.5 here to your newsletter, Zen, which is Base is part of the super chain. The super chain is Optimism's ecosystem chain, and Base is using the OP stack along with many other leading L2s. And we just had, the reason I bring this up was we just had Ryan Wyatt, who is one of the senior leaders at Optimism and really building out the Optimism superchain ecosystem. Just have him on the show. If you guys missed that show, go back and check that out. Amazing episode where he really breaks down exactly this point, is that there is less friction. There's so much talk about the L2 ecosystem and about ETH and all the fragmentations, the issues. And he basically came on our show and said, hey, all that's about to disappear. We're still probably a year away. He thinks like 6 to 18 months, somewhere in that range away. But the days of using Ethereum now, let's be clear. You'll get, if you go listen to the show, and you'll get into some nuance that he talks about of how it'll all shake out in his mind. But the days where Ethereum is going to start to feel like Solana in the next year, and we're going to get past this friction, and then nobody's going to remember this. And so I think that's a big reason as well why there's a lot of opportunity in that space, that base Optimism super chain area. Okay,
100%.
Reason number 4.
Reason number 4 is the people. So like I mentioned Brian Armstrong before, the CEO, absolutely just, I mean, he's a boss titan of the industry. I think basically widely respected by practically everyone in crypto, even people like on a larger macro scale. He's been CEO for a very long time. He is in the weeds, in the trenches, really well connected to politicians and policymakers and nation states and stuff. Then you got Jesse Pollack from Base. He was working on something else, but now he's like basically the lead of the Base chain and the Coinbase wallet. And this is the definition of someone who is in the trenches. He is always on Twitter, always on Farcast, and now on Instagram, now on TikTok, just everywhere connecting to builders and traders and devs and anyone that wants to build or be on Base. He is there to support and help. He just finished a 3-week tour around the world where he met with builders in, a dozen countries and politicians and policymakers and important business people. And that's just 2 of the people behind the Base machine. It really is a well-oiled machine. Everyone I've spoken to who has worked there or does still work there talks about how efficient it is as a company, how aligned they are, how productive they are. And I've always been a big believer in betting on people, betting on a team. If I'm investing in a project or a company, I look at the team first and foremost. And I'm very confident backing the people behind Base. Obviously, there's great people behind ETH and Solana and many other blockchains, but I feel like it's they're generally going above and beyond, and especially Jesse. A lot of the things he's talking about lately is like, we want to break into Instagram, we want to break into TikTok, we want to understand and evolve with the whole meme coin meta, because we believe that's where a lot of attention comes from, and they really just get the culture.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Not only is it a great team, it's a great public team. I think that's the one thing that impresses me most about Base, especially their leaders. They're so public. They're so out in the open, talking on Twitter, talking about what's important, getting involved in crypto politics because they saw the way America was going. And I mean, you remember it was a few years ago when Brian Armstrong said that Coinbase might leave the US. And I remember they were having meetings with like other jurisdictions like the UK and I think some in the Middle East. And people were like, whoa, like this is serious. They could leave, but
that's a big deal.
They stuck in their feet and like stuck to their guns and are really they're part of more than just crypto in America. They're part of the entire financial freedom movement and have a lot of weight for sure.
I mean, I don't think it would be exaggerated to say that they were a pretty significant factor in the most recent election. I think if you look at, there's this I Stand With Crypto not-for-profit movement in America, where people all around the country were lobbying, their local representatives to just tell them how important crypto was for them. And that was, Coinbase was a big part of that entire movement and mission, and in getting so many pro-crypto people elected all around America, which, crypto was a big part of this election, and Coinbase played a big role in that. So I think that's it's just awesome to see. Glad they didn't leave the country. They survived in a very hostile environment. Like the Biden administration was extraordinary. Like Gensler, Biden, Elizabeth Warren were extremely hostile towards crypto. There were, banks were debanking companies and CEOs and people all the time. And they were getting, the SEC sued them, and they fought back and they fought back, and they funded so much to just stand for crypto. And so, one of the few times in my entire 7-8 years in crypto that I really felt like the entire industry rallied behind the same cause was when the SEC sued Coinbase, and they were like, "We're going to fight back," and everyone was just like, "You know what? Yeah, we're with you." Basically.
Yeah, completely. I actually want to go back to something you mentioned earlier that we skipped over, which was, I don't remember which reason this was part of, but we also can't underestimate Coinbase's marketing team. Marketing is something that we don't really look at very much in crypto because most marketing comes from, there's not a lot of people spending money on like traditional marketing in crypto. Most marketing in crypto is like incentive based and community based. And there's a lot of communities doing that really well. But Coinbase is one of the ones that is pumping out like high quality ads, putting them on national TV, paying for them to be in Super Bowl spots and things like that. And I think people really underestimate the power of that when we're talking about onboarding new users in the next year, when there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of attention on crypto.
Yeah, they're absolutely massive. Like you said, they put a lot of money into high quality videos. I think a few weeks ago they might have been like a hockey game in Canada or something, where just on the massive screen across the stadium, they were like, there's a QR code and get $20 free to sign up with Coinbase, that kind of stuff. Yeah, they get marketing. They're marketing hard. And again, like they're marketing for their exchange, they're marketing for crypto and users, but they have their own L2 blockchain, and their entire goal is to get 1 billion people on chain, which I think is an amazing goal and will eventually happen. And you have to imagine that part of their plan and vision is to get as many of those people onto Base as possible. So it's a big deal.
Okay, let's go to reason number 5.
5, the metrics. The metrics are looking great. We touched on it before, like the Ethereum TVL is significant. But if you look at sort of like there's this website, Artemis, where you can find the flows of capital, like, which blockchains are people bridging to, which are they bridging from, where is money flowing? And this one we have up on screen shows the last 3 months. Solana, number 1, which is unsurprising, but pretty close behind it is Base. The amount of flows and money flowing to Base is almost that of Solana over the last 3 months. And basically everyone's just been talking about Solana for the last 3 months. But in the background, Base has just had, people bridging from Ethereum and other L2s, other places. So that's bullish. And then if we go to the last 7 days, Base is just dwarfing everyone else. And so obviously the biggest flows come from Ethereum. But what that means is, again, if and when we get ETH season, as more money flows to ETH, a lot of that money will flow to Base. It'll flow to some other L2s as well. You can see Arbitrum there in the number 4 spot. But I think the lion's share is going to flow to Base. Base is winning the L2 race at the moment. And it just seems to me like a good sign. This is something to watch and keep an eye on, like every day, just see, is money still flowing to Base? Is money still flowing? That will probably be the biggest indicator of a Base season. That, I think we might have just kicked it off and it might be underway now, but it could stop. Some other narrative could come up. But if money keeps flowing, if the TVL keeps increasing, activity will keep increasing. That's how you get a Base season, and that's a really good metric to keep an eye on.
You got some other metrics that are really interesting here that I want to give you a chance to touch on as well.
Yeah, just the this one shows the number of transactions per second over the last year, and it's basically just a steady line up. You can see right at the end there, for those watching on YouTube, it's like a sharp tick upwards. So it has exponentially increased in the last, let's say, week or so. But activity has just slowly and steadily been increasing on Base, basically for the last, let's say, year, but especially the last like 6 to 9 months. And it's hard to imagine that stopping or slowing down. Like that chart is a chart that's just going to keep going upwards. And then this next metric is looking at AI agents. AI agents are a big part of the meta right now, a big part of the mind share. People trading are, GOAT over on Sol, Zerebro. There's tons of AI agents that have been getting a lot of attention on crypto Twitter. And there's this website, cookie.xyz, I think it is, cookie.fun, sorry. And it shows the top mind share of agents, mind share being like the amount of attention they're getting on Twitter, amount of engagement these Twitter accounts are getting. And over the last few days, it used to be all Solana agents. Over the last few days, a bunch of the Base AI agents are now getting the most mindshare, AI XBT being the largest. This will probably flip-flop back and forth between Sol and Base, but I think that this is basically showing that attention has shifted to Base. And again, just like the flows, this is one to watch to see, is attention staying on Base? Are people continuing to pay attention to these AI agents? Even if they're, relatively on par with Solana, I think that's a massive, massive win, let alone if they ever meaningfully overtake Solana in attention.
Can you quickly, for our listeners who aren't deep in the AI meta, what is an AI agent on Base? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so an AI agent on Base or on Solana for that matter is basically an artificial intelligence that has either been created by a team of AI experts or launched on an AI agent launchpad where anyone can launch their own AI agent. And these AI agents are set up with a Twitter account, sometimes their own crypto wallet, sometimes a bunch of other stuff in the background. And they're basically they're acting pretty much autonomously, and you can engage with them. You can reply to them on Twitter. They will tweet by themselves. They will consume the timeline. They will read various things. And so you have cool things happening where, there's AI agents creating their own music albums and pumping that out and launching that. There's AI agents who are doing their own trading and they post their plays publicly. There are AI agents basically for everything. I think if you're bullish AI and you're bullish crypto, AI agents are the future. We're just at the very beginning innings of seeing how significant these are going to be. Like my timeline now, sometimes I read a post and more than half of the replies are just one AI agent or another. And half the stuff on my feed now is probably AI agents because they're posting, because they can analyze so much stuff so quickly. They can be like, oh, well, the attention is shifting to this narrative or this coin or this meta, and they can find it out before almost anyone else. It's almost going to put the KOLs or the influencers out of business, the people shilling random crap, when you have AI agents who, you can know what their intentions are and where they're aligned and that they're not nefariously shilling a bag on the side, or you can be pretty confident about that. And B, they're just consuming raw data and posting facts. And so, yeah, it's a fascinating space to be paying attention to. And I think it's basically where the biggest gains have been over the last month or two. And I think that, I've been bullish AI, since late 2023, when ChatGPT first came out. And I think that it's going to be probably the most dominant narrative of this cycle, along with meme coins. And these AI agents at the nexus of AI and meme coins. So very much worth paying attention to, I think.
Okay, fantastic. I love it. Final reason number 6.
Airdrop speculation, yeah. So this is, I've definitely seen people speculating about the airdrop. People were speculating about it a year ago. It's just that, it's pure speculation. Coinbase has come out and said many, many times there is no token, there is no airdrop, we're not planning a token. But Optimism said the same thing. A lot of protocols have said the same thing. Eigenlayer said the same thing. I'm not expecting it. I think I'm treating it as a cherry on the top. If it comes, then great, it's a bonus. But with the regulatory landscape changing in America, with Gensler going out, with potentially a pro-crypto person coming in, I could see if and when sensible regulation comes out in America, and this could take years still, it could happen sooner, it could take years, Coinbase exploring launching a coin. And you would imagine that they would airdrop it to people that have been active on their base chain. And if they do, you compare it to some of the other coins, Optimism or BNB, the Binance chain, these are some massive market cap coins. I would expect Base to be a top 10 coin if it does launch. Again, I'm not expecting it. I'd put it at a low percentage chance, but I think it's not insignificant, and it is worth keeping in the back of your mind.
Okay, so just to recap, 6 reasons. Coinbase is kind of a big deal, and they run Base, so we have a lot of belief in them. Friction is slowly disappearing. ETH season is coming. People on this team worth investing in. The people behind Coinbase and Base really believe in them. Metrics are looking great, as we talked about. And then the cherry on top, maybe there's an airdrop. I agree. Don't bet on there being an airdrop. Don't make any decisions. Just if there's an airdrop, it would be nice. And quite honestly, like you'd kind of be a fool to not do some stuff on base,
right?
Because it's pretty easy to collect some NFTs on base for free or something like that. I feel like I've been doing that for years, just going to Zora, grabbing their free NFTs just in case there is an airdrop. You want to give yourself some sort of access to that. Okay, so those are our 6 reasons. Base season could be coming. I'm bought in now, Zen. I like it. I'm following along. How do I take advantage of base season? What are the ways in which you are trading and getting into exposure here?
So there's a lot of ways to get exposure. I mean, like we've said, there's no base token, so you can't just buy the token. If you want financial exposure, you need to buy other tokens within the ecosystem. One of the major ones is Aero, which is the big decentralized exchange on base, Aerodrome. But on the where I'm spending most of my attention is there's this platform called Virtuals, and it's an AI agent launchpad, kind of like Pump Fun for those familiar on Solana, the meme coin launchpad, except this is for launching an AI agent with a token associated with it. It's very cool, very interesting. A lot of great. I mean, I think there's a couple tokens, or at least one token over 100 million market cap that's been launched there already. A bunch in that sort of 10 to 50 million range, and a bunch below. And the other place is Farcaster. I think it is, Farcaster is a decentralized social media app. I wrote about it back in Feb. It is a big deal in the base ecosystem. Most of the transactions on Farcaster are done on base, like 95% plus or something like that. It is very aligned with base. There are a lot of devs and builders on there, and there's just some cool stuff being launched from there. There's another token called Clanker, which is basically another Pump Fund style bot that allows anyone to launch their own tokens, except they do it by just within the social media app Farcaster. You just write a tweet or post or whatever you call it at the bot and be like, hey, can you deploy a token for me? And all of a sudden a token is launched with a liquidity pool and everything. And the other thing on Farcaster that I find probably the most interesting of everything is this thing called Anon. Anoncast is basically a way for anyone who holds the token or a certain amount of their token can use this protocol to put out a post on Farcaster or even a tweet that uses ZK proof technology to make it 100% anonymous. So this is, if you want to tweet something and have no way of it being traced back to you, in the past you would need to spin up a new Twitter account and you'd have no followers and it'd be very difficult to get out, or you'd tweet it to something like Crypto Confessions and they would maybe post it. But this allows literally anyone who I guess you need to own the token or some amount of it, but people to tweet their mind, have no possible, there's just mathematically impossible for anyone to trace it back to you. And it'll get posted on Farcaster, it'll get posted to Twitter, to a pretty significant audience now because more and more people are following this account. Vitalik bought this coin a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a week ago. Time is weird, but and that sort of like obviously gave it a lot of attention and people went crazy for it. But it's because it's a really cool use of crypto technology. Like a lot of these things are meme coins that will go to zero. Some of the AI agents I think have actual utility. They're data. They're getting a lot of data. They're trading. They're providing plays. They're analyzing things. And then you have this ZK proof technology for posting anonymously, which is just really cool. So yeah, Farcaster and Virtuals are probably the 2 biggest places I'm spending my time and paying attention to.
And you have in your newsletter, you have a couple other opportunities. I'm going to tease you guys listening today and make you click the link in the show notes and go to the article to read the rest. This isn't a paid promotion for Zeneca or anything like that. This newsletter is free, guys. Don't worry. More so just in the interest of time. I don't want to continue to go through. So in this newsletter, there's 2 other focuses or opportunities to get exposure within the base ecosystem. And then also you talk about a bit about how to, if you need to bridge, how do you bridge? How do you move assets over to base? That's also in this article, and we'll link for that as well. Zeneca, I'm feeling pretty bullish on base and the opportunities here. It's feeling like you said that like base season is just starting, like maybe not even started yet. Where do you think this goes from here?
I feel like I think it started, but you're just starting. So I've never been personally someone that is super duper crazy early to things. Like the people that were on base for the last 7 months or came to base 3 months ago, 2 months ago and started paying attention, buying things and being active, those are the super early people. I'm never that person. I'm the person who waits for momentum to take off, and I'll usually buy in higher and pay a bit of a premium for being slightly later. But it's when I feel like there's confluence of enough data points to suggest, all right, this is going to take off soon. This is a big deal. All the metrics are lining up. And so I felt the same in like January, early Feb this year when the previous base season took off, again, off the back of Farcaster. We saw the DGen token go absolutely crazy. Very similar feelings now. Big difference being that we're in a much more bullish part of the macro cycle right now. If Ethereum is probably going to go crazy soon, Bitcoin is going to hit 100K soon, alt season is going to start soon. And so the last base season, I think, was a warm up for the real big base season, which is, I think if the market stays good over the next month, it'll start now. There's some potential that, we cool off and the next leg up doesn't start till January or February. But I think most people listening and in the space are aligned that, over the next 6 months, crypto is going to be bullish. And I think base season will happen in a very big way at some point then. And I'm betting, I guess, that it's happening very soon.
Hey, when Zeneca's got conviction, you should follow his conviction. I mean, actually, it's funny. As I say that, you said in the end of this article yourself to follow your own conviction and your own curiosity. But I'm gonna cheat here and tell everybody that, hey, when Zeneca has a conviction, you might want to check it out. At least look into it, give it some serious consideration.
Look into it, do your own research.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody listening, I want to know: Are you guys participating in base season? Do you think base season is coming? Do you want us to produce more content around base season? Or did you not care about this episode at all and tell us that we should go check ourselves and come up with new content for you guys? Always, we're making this content for you guys. So tell us how you feel about it. Let us know if you're hype on base or there's something else you're more excited about. Zeneca, as always, thanks for joining in. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have a wicked awesome day. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your number one resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.